The United States has one of the highest rates of incarceration in the world. This means that we have one of the highest numbers of people incarcerated currently, the highest proportion of our population in prison, and we also have the highest proportion of people who are under court surveillance of anywhere in the world. This is not a reflection of who our people are. It's a reflection of political choices that we've made. And plea bargaining is a huge piece of the puzzle as to how we got here.
Mass incarceration feeds plea bargaining, and plea bargaining feeds mass incarceration. They're symbiotic, they work together, they rely on each other. The broader system of mass incarceration fuels the plea bargaining process because plea bargaining is a process in which rights are not honored. People's experiences and choices and needs are not honored. And they are instead told to make terrible choices under terrible conditions that often result in lengthy prison sentences, onerous conditions, high levels of debt, and social control for years to come, regardless of whether they got a so-called deal or not.
The main reason that justice system actors, judges, prosecutors, and defenders say that they use plea bargaining instead of giving people a full constitutional trial is because of efficiency. They say if they had to give everyone a trial, the system would fall apart. We have privileged this form of efficiency over every other value in the criminal justice system, over accuracy, over reliability, over humanity, over proportionality, and over constitutionality.
Now, what we have is a system where around 98% of cases that are initiated for prosecution are resolved by guilty plea. We have a system of pleas, not a system of trials. People are left with very few choices, if any, and they generally take the least harmful choice available to them, and that's often a guilty plea. So we have the system for a number of reasons, again, none of which are accidental. Some of them go back to the origins of mass incarceration, how we got here, and the social forces that underlie it, right? White supremacy and racism, economic inequality, a desire for social control by those in power. These are some of the forces that contribute directly to the system of plea bargaining that we have. But also the rate at which we have relied on policing and prosecution to navigate social problems, to navigate social inequality, which, by the way, we have created. The rate at which we rely on law enforcement and the criminal legal system to address those problems directly results in the numbers of people being prosecuted that our system cannot handle. There's no reason that the evidence gathering that police do has to be so coercive. We could also make it a priority to fund public defenders.
There is no way that we would be able to administer and adjudicate this number of criminal cases if we had to give everyone a full constitutional trial. The only way we can lock up this many people is to do it via plea bargain. The decision that's being made with mass plea bargaining and mass incarceration in the United States is to choose conviction over every other value in the criminal justice system. Choosing plea bargaining instead of trials means that prosecutors, police, judges don't have to make tough decisions about who it is we want to impose punishment on in this country. What is the proper use of the criminal legal system? More and more social ills can be shoveled in this sort of endlessly elastic capacity that the criminal legal system has, as long as they get rid of all of the procedural rights and all of the values that are supposed to be expressed.
Sort of the central premise of guilt and innocence, of guilt and lack of guilt in our criminal legal system is entirely erased by the plea bargaining process.
Everybody knows that the criminal legal system in the United States needs to shrink massively. There are way too many people entering into the criminal legal system, way too many convictions, way too much surveillance. In some ways, the problem is quite simple. There's just too many people in the system. And it wouldn't be this way if trials were being carried out the way that they're imagined in the Constitution. Fair Trials believes in a system where defendants' rights need to be respected, where police behavior is scrutinized by the court, where the court makes sure that there's sufficient evidence to convict a person before they impose a conviction upon them, and where the public has the opportunity to see and understand what's going on in our halls of justice. These are the fundamental values in the human rights framework and in every criminal legal system around the world. And that's not what's operating in today's plea bargaining system in the United States.